Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm your host, Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining me at the market site in Times Square, we have Stephen Culp. He's the CEO of PriceWaiter. We're going to take a look at holiday 2019 spend trends, as well as negotiating for the best deal, a practice that virtually dates back to the beginning of time. Stephen, it's great to have you with us. And before we get into what PriceWaiter does in negotiating for best prices, what are your thoughts around holiday 2019 and the strength of the consumer?
So the holiday shopping season comes every year a bit like a hurricane, just mayhem, and the consumer looks to be as strong as ever. There's been talk about recession and tariffs, but it does not seem to be flowing down to consumer levels, and I would expect we'll see something like $160 billion in e-commerce spending over this next holiday period. Wow. It is a bit like the fog of war, though, where people end up making bad decisions because they feel forced to buy something during the sale season. Mm-hmm. And we would say, hey, let's look for opportunities to help people shop on their own terms.
All right, well, okay, so leading into that, tell us about PriceWaiter. What do you do? Why negotiate for prices?
Yeah, so like you said, negotiation is pretty much as old as trade. It's one of the oldest practices, and it's because it works, right? It is our thesis at PriceWaiter that negotiation just needed an upgrade. You see it here and there. It's not a cultural norm yet in the United States necessarily. Some people think it's awkward, but it absolutely works in its ability to save shoppers money and to let retailers really sell things for a price they would be okay with selling something at. So PriceWaiter very simply, quickly, effectively, and privately helps those two parties come to agreement on a price that everybody's happy with.
Yeah, it's interesting. It really does set the market.
Yes.
It's based on supply and
We
demand.
are free marketeers.
Yeah, for sure. So is it a curated site? Do you curate your deals? Is anything available on there?
That's a great question. It is not a superstore where you will find everything and have to fend for yourself in terms of, is this a refurbished product or does this come from a disreputable vendor? No, it is curated, to your point. So rather than a giant superstore, think of it a bit like a Trader Joe's, where we're making the choices on the front end with vetted partners that we trust on top-rated products.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, to be fair, it has been brought up in the news that sometimes, even though it says it's curated, it's not necessarily curated. So I can understand why sometimes consumers have hesitation with it, but that's where technology comes into play. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, you really are a technology platform. So tell us more about that.
Yeah, so the technology really just helps us take negotiation, this ancient successful thing, and modernize it by making, as I say, making the whole process simple, efficient, private. I mean, I'll hit on maybe one of those.
Right.
The private element of it takes a lot of the sort of awkwardness out of what you might think of negotiation. If you think about the used car lot, like dash that out of your mind. We make this an extremely efficient, often real-time negotiation that's using technology between the shopper and any one of these vetted sellers who might have the product for a deal that really, really would work with you. The element of privacy to it allows the price to be better than you would find anywhere else because it's not a publicly posted price. If you think about these as exclusive deals, that's what PriceWaiter is all about. That's what negotiation is all about.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder sometimes when things are made public that it almost bids the price up higher because what you might think is a great deal, I might think, we can go up a little bit higher.
Yeah, that's part of the frenzy during the shopping season. We're trying to really, one of our points is, hey, yeah, Cyber Monday and Black Friday, those are great, but you can get a lot of FOMO and make some bad decisions. PriceWaiter would like to help you as a shopper shop on your own terms. We're trying to give you a little bit more power, a little bit more control over the dynamics of shopping.
Yeah, and it's really interesting that you bring that up, Cyber Monday and Black Friday. Perhaps they don't have the allure as they used to. I mean, that's certainly something I'll be covering on both those days on Trade Talks, but these deals are available, at multiple points during the year.
They are, and it's sort of a process to try to wait for them to show up, and so what we're trying to do is make a marketplace where somebody can go any time of the year on their own terms, in their pajamas, on their Saturday, and find something they like and get really a historically good deal on something.
So let's walk through a trade here, if you will. Right behind us, we're looking at a Samsung 4K HD TV. What would that process look like? I click on it, I make an offer. I think in my mind, I don't know, $300 is the best price for it, and then you just start the process from there?
Yeah, really, and don't fear about what to start with as your opening price. We hold your hand, and we make it happen really quickly. So you can really offer anything. You're also not bound or committed to purchasing that product. So we'd really take the pressure off. We also provide, if you click on any of these items, we provide, in any case that we can, comparable pricing to sites like Amazon. Because, 70, 80% of people shopping for something start on Amazon. It's a standard that people judge by. We would rather provide that information to them up front on our site so they don't necessarily even have to go to Amazon, so that we can show them when we can beat a deal on Amazon.
Interesting. Sure, have to check this out.
Yes,
Get myself into a lot of trouble. Thanks so much for joining us at MarketSite.
Yeah, my pleasure.
And thank you for joining me on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.